and it's time for you to get informed and educated on in the Buffalo Public School System with We Are the Parent with my man, Sam Bradford, on the all-new sound of Buffalo. It's Power 96.5 and Mix 1080 WUFO.
Yo, D! It's Thursday night, D.
Yes, sir.
And if it's Thursday night and it's 6 o'clock, you know what it is. What is it,
right.
D?
It's time for We the Parents.
It's We the Parents, y'all. Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. We the Parents. There are some schools where a teacher comes on, she starts the class, then tells the kids to just go do their work, and there's really no actual instruction going on. So I've heard the whole range, and there's no consistency in terms of what is being delivered.
Yeah, and then my youngest daughter, she's in a special needs class, whatever like that. And so it's hot. I couldn't just let her do her own thing all day. Mm-hmm. Like my oldest daughter, she can log in, she can do it. My youngest daughter needs some support. So she's actually in a pod. She's actually in a learning space where there's adult supervision and make sure she's logged in. She's still getting the instruction, but they're just kind of making sure that she's supported, she's logging on, she's keeping up with everything. And then we double check, reinforce, in the evening. But it's interesting to hear that people are having such varied experiences as you are talking to them, because the thing about virtual learning is if you're not getting real instruction, your kid is drastically decreasing in their learning. The achievement gap is incredibly widening, because doing dittos and worksheets and busy work in no way compares to the interaction and the type of instruction.
It was interesting. I was on a call yesterday with a woman who runs a daycare, and she was saying she has children in there, and it's interesting to watch the difference. Some kids in there are engaged, other kids in there are got a packet. Especially if you K through 2, you don't got a device. Some kids got a device that's is just not adequate for what they're doing. But to hear her talk about the differences all happening right in front of her. But you talked about your kids in the pod. What we want to do as a community, as a service to this community, is make sure we get you quality information about the virtual learning centers, or what people are calling pods. And so we brought in what I consider the area expert on that. We got in the house Pastor Larry Donaldson. How you doing today, Pastor Donaldson?
I'm great, Sam. How are you?
Oh, brother, it's a good day to be alive. I don't got no complaints, brother. But as I looked over your resume, your history, you from Connecticut, but you came. This is Connecticut or Syracuse? Syracuse. I thought I looked Syracuse. You from Syracuse, but you didn't stake down roots here in Buffalo.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And you, not only are a pastor, but you also, work at ECC. You also have a child care, a daycare center. You really have made an investment into this community. So why don't you tell the community, other than what I said, a little bit about yourself, so before we get into this pod, the work that you're doing with pods.
First of all, I want to thank you, Sam, for having me on the show, and thank you, Duncan, for having me on the show. Just a little bit about myself, like Sam already said. Native of Syracuse, but I've been a Buffalonian. I'm a Buffalonian all my life.
Okay. You ain't going back.
I'm not going back.
This is home now.
No, this is home.
Yes, sir.
Sam, I love your energy, man. First of all, I listen to your show. I've been watching your show. A little bit about me, pastor, a little small. I'm not an international pastor. I'm not a city pastor. I'm a little community pastor from 14208, 14209, the same area I grew up in. I went to Martin Luther King from 2nd grade to 8th grade. I'm a
School 39, Martin Luther King?
39.
Okay,
yeah,
that's it. There you go.
I'm a product. Matter of fact, your son, he was in my class. Didn't I teach you? Didn't I teach you? I was your social studies teacher.
See, look at you, small world.
Yeah, so I'm a product of 39. I'm a product of Leonardo da Vinci. I'm a product of the Buffalo Public School System. My kids graduated. The 3 oldest graduated from the Buffalo Public School System. So I'm a Buffalonian. Again, but I come from 462 Dodge. My church is exactly about 1,900 feet from the house I grew up in.
Wow, okay. So that's rooted.
When the Lord put me through college and I could have went anywhere in the country, he brought me back here. And he brought me back to the community I grew up in because of the benefits from the community that I grew up in. So I noticed that we have depleted benefits that's going on in the city of Buffalo right now. So I, like you, like Duncan, we all got our own lane. I'm just trying to invigorate, the benefits that come from us being a community instead of from us being separated.
Well, let me do this. First of all, thank you for giving us that background, right? Because that matters. Because as we begin to have a conversation about the future of education in our community, because this COVID-19 has disrupted how we do education. And let's be straight. We talk about this on this radio show every week. It ain't like it was working before COVID-19. So what we're doing after
Working for our
COVID-19,
kids.
well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about in a real way. I mean,
No,
it was
no.
working for some kids.
No, what I'm saying is we act like it wasn't working. I mean, we
Oh,
make it clear it was not working for our children.
Yeah.
But it was working for some people.
Right,
It was
that's
working
true.
for the people who was benefiting financially.
Right.
You know.
And so for us who have a vision of our community being taking the responsibility of making our community better than we found it, because we live here, our children are going to live here, our grandchildren are going to live here. It don't make sense for us to just talk about it and just be negative about it, because it's our community. It's where our children are at. We have to be talking about how we make it better.
Right.
What are the issues? How do we solve the problems? You know, like, so hearing your background, know that you're invested in this community. Now we at this turning point where education has to be figured out, because there were huge inequities even before COVID-19, and we have the potential for those inequities to get bigger. I mean, for them to become much more, expansive, or the possibility of turning the corner and taking this and taking this as an opportunity and making it better. I know you are invested in this whole concept of pods or virtual learning centers. So why don't you give us a little bit about your background as it relates to the virtual learning center and the pods, and so people can understand why you're an important voice in this conversation.
Well, everything that you and Duncan said is true. First of all, I've been a teacher for 15 years. I'm a master's level teacher, certified with permanent certification in New York State. I taught in the Buffalo Public Schools, even coming from the Buffalo Public Schools, because of the deficiencies. Not having
one of the very few male teachers,
right?
black male teachers.
You hit it. When I went to 39, 7 of my 10 influential teachers were African American. 3 of them were male. You could do the math on that. 70% of my teachers were black at 39 in the 1980s. 30% of them were male. Kenny Berry, Karima Amin, Miss Pickett.
And I know all of them.
I know you know all of them. So these are my teachers. So
Right.
those are my influences. So they influence and shape my thought process. So fast forward, I became a teacher. I went back and taught at 39. And I kept seeing the savage inequalities. I'll never forget that book as long as I live. But I saw savage inequalities in real life. And sometimes in Buffalo, you get criticized when you actually try to problem solve.
Yes, sir.
In order to problem solve, you have to admit there's a problem.
But
And
before you go down that line, I want, just so we can get a
So the
snapshot.
pot, okay.
No.
So-
I want you to talk about the admit, but I want you to make the contrast first. So when you went back to 39 as a teacher, what was the ratio of African American male teachers then? Was it the same numbers? Because Kenny might have still been there when you came back in the
No,
teacher.
Kenny had passed.
He had passed.
Kenny had
Okay,
passed.
got it.
Kenny
All
had
right.
passed,
Okay,
yeah.
so what was
Mr. Berry? I'm still
Yeah,
scared to call him by his
yes,
first
yes,
name.
sir.
It was decent because we had a great principal, Dr. Ramona Reynolds.
Okay, yeah,
She was the
yeah.
principal.
Yeah.
My department chair, Dr. Woody Brandy, he made sure, he's over the social studies department, he made sure that as many African-American males were strategically placed throughout the city of Buffalo. So we had good numbers going back.
Gotcha.
But here's the thing, other schools didn't.
Right.
Other
No
schools
question
didn't.
about it.
We had good numbers as far as representation. But even my second my 6-year-old Sunday school teacher, Miss McMillan, she was the English teacher.
That's
here.
right.
So it was good representation. But again, there were other holes in the community.
Right.
Because we ain't got time to talk about. We had Lighted Schoolhouse.
That's right.
Lighted Schoolhouse is gone.
I used to tell people Lighted Schoolhouse was a difference maker when we used to make this argument that when you shut the school down at 4 o'clock and you can't access the school on the weekends, when we got out of school, we went to Lighted Schoolhouse,
went to
played
Lighted
basketball, do all of that.
So we have all these deficiencies, and we saw it. It was just too large of a scale. And again, I'm a problem solver, not a criticizer. I'm a problem solver. In order to solve a problem, you have to admit that there's a problem.
Amen.
So people got mad at me for saying we have deficiencies, we have deficiencies, we have deficiencies. So I left education. I walked away from the Buffalo Board of Education. I was highly sought after. They tried to get me back. And because I was not just a teacher, I was an established teacher.
Okay.
I had a 93% efficiency rate.
Okay.
So
you was one of the good teachers.
I
You
was
was one of the ones we needed in there.
Listen, I was the Joe Clark for the Global 10 and the U.S. History 11. I went all around the city of Buffalo helping students that couldn't pass those 2 exams that you needed to pass in order to graduate.
Okay.
So literally, I never had a permanent assignment.
Gotcha.
Once I left Martin Luther King, they chopped me up to high school, and I became an exam specialist. So I only work with kids from September to January, and then from January to June to help them get them past that exam.
So you really was the professional problem solver.
when
We
they
need
start
people to graduate. They send you.
when they started rating teachers and everybody else got mad, I was glad. Because I thought that would be a way where we can weed out some of these, like Duncan was saying earlier, these teachers who aren't teaching.
That's a good point.
But
you saw there was a mutiny. I mean, it was.
It was that's when I left.
when
That's
when
when I
people
left.
start, we gonna rate teachers. Because again, it's almost like the situation we have in modern day with the police officers. It weeds the bad people out, but in order to to protect everybody, they got to keep the bad ones in there.
They got to keep the bad ones in there because the bad ones are the loudest ones. That's what's going on in our society right now.
Ain't that always the
It
case?
ain't more of them. They just louder.
That's
That's
always
why I
the
keep
case.
telling people stop paying attention to noise. Noise, the noise is just noise. You can cancel out noise, and let's look at facts.
That's it.
I like to deal in facts. So I left. I went into. We started child development centers because we kept seeing the gap in kids coming to kindergarten. Buffalo at kindergarten retention rate in 2008 was at 33%. That's 1 out of every 3 kindergartners.
Whoa. So you got to slay that slow. I mean, seriously, because that's ridiculous.
In 2008, Buffalo's kindergarten retention rate, kids that couldn't qualify through Dibbles testing to move on to first grade, was 33%.
So we were failing 33% of the kindergartners.
Kindergarten.
That means, you hear what that said? That they were failing kindergarten.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
And so myself and my team developed child development centers. It's a daycare model, but it has a curriculum. So we took the curriculum of Universal Pre-K. We took the curriculum of Head Start. When there was 2 Head Starts at Buffalo, you had CAO and then you had Bethel. So we stole their curriculums and we made it formative for our students as they were getting ready to prepare for kindergarten. Well, what we found out is when our students leaving our child development centers and our preschools went to kindergarten, they were scoring highest on their Dibbles
Okay.
in the city,
Wow. Okay.
hands down,
Okay.
from our curriculum. So, we built on that curriculum. Like you said, I went into higher education, and I only went into higher education because I was the guy in high school pushing people through the door. Pass that exam, pass that exam. But what I found out, I was seeing all the students I pushed through the door who were just out there. So I went to SUNY Erie to have the opportunity to start opening the door for these students
Right on.
who I got to get a high school diploma, who I work with at my church because we do a GED program at my church.
So literally, you've been working with children through your career from the preschool, you know what I'm saying, elementary, high school, and all the way through college. So
All the way through college.
you didn't see this education through the whole spectrum.
And you see the holes. You see why our students, again, and it's going to lead right to the pod. It's a beautiful segue.
No, take your time. Don't rush. It's important.
If you don't get a step, if you got 12 steps and you miss a step,
Yep.
you can't excel at those other steps. Any athlete will tell you, I never woke up and ran a 5K.
That's right.
I woke up, I ran around the block. I woke up, I ran around the corner. I woke up, I ran around the neighborhood. You build up to getting to the point where you need to be.
Well, I was on the governor's Common Core task force, and I know at least in theory that's what Common Core was supposed to do. It was supposed to say, listen, let's go to 12th grade and work backwards and make sure that you have everything you need at every step of the way, so that you don't get up here and now you're trying to figure out when you go to college and you end up having to take a bunch of remedial courses because you get out of high school and realize that you not college or career ready.
And it was a good program in theory. Watch this, great program in theory, but it's systematic. What we face in Buffalo, why we have so many deficiencies, is because we're system-centered instead of being student-centered. So I saw a live the other night with Duncan when he was talking about this new charter school that they want to do that appears to be student-centered,
Right.
not system-centered.
That's right. Learn for life.
Learn for life.
That's right.
Let's beat the system. The system is what's keeping our students from being successful. Again, I go back to the first science lesson I ever remember. If you take a white baby and you take a black baby and you put them on an island, they both got 10 fingers, they both got 10 toes, they both got one mind. They'll learn according, watch this, not based on their skin color, but based on their environment.
That's right.
The system around them.
That's right.
Our students don't fail in our school system. Our school system fails our children.
Period.
Period.
Yeah,
and
matter of
people
fact,
get mad when you say that.
Because that's what systems are. Systems are they're parts. They work together to hold to produce an outcome.
Right.
So if it's producing a certain outcome, that's what that system does.
Exactly.
This is not an education system. I used to say to people, I said this is an employment system because it does a very good job of securing people's employment independent of the educational outcome. In the educational system, you should be measuring it by educational outcomes. And if it's not producing them, you got to change the system.
You gonna get them to take away this money that they just gave you.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's not do that now.
So again, you see these deficiencies, you see these gaps. Being a problem solver, I'm like, let's hit it. So I went all the way down to preschool. Well, these are the building blocks kids need to be successful. If they get that, they go to kindergarten, they have a successful first grade, second grade, they get that. So we wonder why our kids struggle in 4th, 6th, and 8th grade state testing. It's because somewhere along the way they missed a step. Now you come fast forward to high school, now they're thrown in where they don't have as much pressure to perform. And that's why we have such a high dropout rate.
That's right.
And regardless of what people see in the news or the statistics, remember Buffalo is being rebranded. So there's people coming in that don't adequately reflect the community at large in Buffalo. And all you have to do is go on the New York State education website, and you can look up the numbers, see the demographics, and see who's passing, who's failing. So if you look at that, then you have to say, okay, well, the system works for them, but we got to make the students work in the system or a different system.
I can't let you just move by that real fast because I got to take the opportunity because you saying something that's so important. You said you used the word rebranded, right? In a lot of ways, another way of saying that is that Buffalo is being gentrified.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Is another student that's in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the top schools, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
City Honors, Hutch Tech, Da Vinci, all those
Well, hold
schools.
on, put it in perspective. City Otters, Da Vinci, then Hutch Tech. That's just for my brother.
I'm Hutch Tech. He's City Honors, right? So we about to get into a battle here.
Da Vinci is the number 2 school
Okay, well,
right
so
now. Okay,
right
go
now,
ahead.
okay. So traditionally, Hutch Tech is usually in that category.
Right.
But Olmsted, the schools, right? All those schools are disproportionately white. You know what I'm saying? More than, with 20% of the students in the district are white, and all those schools have 40 to 60% white students. Wherever our white students are at, kids getting a top quality education. That's what it comes down to. So when you talk about the fact that it's being rebranded, and there are so many good things going on in Buffalo Public Schools, and I want to be one of the first to say that. We have to celebrate the progress. We have to celebrate the good things. But we also have to tell ourselves the truth. The truth is we have 400 to 500 kids dropping out every year. You know what I'm saying? We can't pretend like because some people are doing well that we're not losing other kids and then turn our back on them. So we have the opportunity to address that. I don't want to take away from this pod, but this Learn for Life model is a pod learning model, right? And it focuses on the student, and it focuses on kids who are dropped out of school. And so here there's a solution. How somebody can be against working to save children, who are dropped out of school and get them back to school is beyond me. We're going to talk about that more in future weeks, but that rebranding has to come up with solutions for all of our children.
When you say rebranding, I know that's like the nice way we put it here, but you got to look at Buffalo. There are great opportunities in BPS.
That's true.
Say yes. If you live in West Seneca, you a teacher, most of our teachers live in the suburbs. You live in the suburbs, your kid is getting a world-class education, right? But you paying for college. They're not getting that full ride scholarship just because you live 15 minutes away. So there's an effort from a lot of folks in the suburbs to get their kid in the border so that they can start getting that say yes. That's a lot of money to say.
That's the rebranding.
And Say Yes is growing their network. They got schools all across the country, top colleges. You can't be 5 minutes from the border, Cheektowaga, sitting there like, wait a minute, I can't get that?
Listen, I was on an interview committee, and it was a principal. We were interviewing assistant principals. It was a principal from a suburban high school interviewing for an assistant principal position in Buffalo. I said, why would you go back in your career? He said, listen, I got 4 young kids. He said, and I got some property, over here on Amherst and Elmwood. He said economically, it's just I can't pass up on this opportunity. I had to come back in the city where my kids can go to college for free, and I could take that money I was saving for their college and put into this business. And I'm like, wow. You know what I mean?
Sam, before Say Yes come, you could ask your nephew, Chuck Coleman, who's my barber.
Okay, yes, sir.
15 years ago, when they put the mediums on Main Street, and when that building was bought next to Bennett, I said, something is about to happen. I was in the schools. I said, something is about to happen because why are they investing this money on this part of Main Street? I said, something is about to happen. Yeah. Lo and behold,
and then they
here
rebuilt
comes
the
Say
All
Yes.
High Stadium.
They rebuilt
the
All High.
brand,
You see it. It slowly started to creep in. It's slow. Now, I'm still a Buffalo resident. Anybody could check my 14214. I live 3 houses from the city limits between Buffalo and Kenmore. I will not go to the suburbs. I'm a Buffalo resident, but I've always been a Buffalo resident. My entire adult life, I've been a Buffalo resident. But you can see how, and the reason, Duncan, I say rebranding is because sometimes gentrification, that word, gives a negative connotation where people shut up the conversation.
Yeah, I got you.
So I say rebranding because I want to be part of the rebranding.
Okay.
I want to be.
You want to be in the
because
conversation.
My oldest daughter, Ajane, graduated from Syracuse University with a master's of social work from performing arts, and I paid $250,000 for that degree.
Well, Syracuse is worth it, bro.
250. Now, the daughter that's after her was a part of the Say Yes, and I paid nothing.
Wow.
Here's your economics.
Wow.
Right there.
Wow.
So I got 2 kids, same value to me, love them the exact same. One had a $250,000 education.
$250,000.
And one had a free education. So anybody can look at that and say, I want to get in on that. I ain't mad at our Caucasian brothers and sisters for wanting to get in on it.
That's right.
I'm mad at our colored brothers and sisters, black and Hispanic, for not investing more into it.
Exactly. Understanding the opportunity that's in front of us.
Right. Not investing more at these critical stages in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
But a lot of times, and again, I mean, as a parent leader for the last 30 years, I know a lot of times parents don't know what they don't know, right? And they're also the parents of, that didn't get an education themselves. And so what we committed by doing this radio show, even after I was out of parent leadership, is to say that we got to keep an intergenerational conversation going to make sure those up-and-coming parents understand that this Say Yes thing, like Duncan said, it's the real deal. I mean, anybody who understands the game, understand that this is a game changer. You know what I'm saying? So if your children can go to college without having to pay, you know what I'm saying, it potentially changes their life. And if nobody else is telling you that, because there's other people got motive for letting you sit there and not take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. We have to take responsibility. And the point that you made is critical. We've been trying to say this when we've been having a conversation about advanced placement courses in the middle school. Right? Because you go to every suburban school district, they got advanced placement in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. You don't usually see advanced placement in school in the city of Buffalo till 7th grade and mostly in high school, right? But you have to start dealing with your children's education with class they are taking in elementary school. You can't start preparing them for college and high school. It starts with the classes they're taking in elementary school.
You're exactly right. So, that leads us to today. Seeing all these deficiencies, seeing all these holes, when the world shut down on March 17th, I'll never forget this date.
You got the date down.
When the world shut down on March 17th, I was in Miami, Florida. I was vacationing. It was my first vacation in a while because I've been working so hard trying to, we upped our enrollment at SUNY Erie. We're getting more people who look like us there into these valuable positions where they could get gainful employment and have salaries and not wages. I try to tell our people all the time, it's one thing to have a good wage. It's another thing to have a salary.
That's right.
It's another thing to have benefits.
It's another life in some
cases. It's a whole nother life. So, I took a break. We in Miami, and they flash across the screen, the United States is about to shut down. We got this disease. First thing I thought about, let me get home. Let me make sure my family is all right.
Okay.
And then where do we go from here? And when schools were shut down, and I saw, and again, to applaud Buffalo, I saw how Buffalo rallied and got people equipment and got people food and got people lessons. And I saw Buffalo strong.
Yes, sir.
Brandon.
That's right.
I saw Buffalo strong because we were in a critical pandemic that nobody knew how to face. But then you get into June when we done got comfortable, we done sat back in our chairs.
Yep.
Now we know now we gonna see who falls and who stands.
Uh-oh.
And I was scared for our kids.
That's right.
Because I knew that even though as much as the system might have prepared them, our students live in systems within systems. See, the Buffalo public school system is not the only system that's deterring our students from success. The drug system, the crime system,
that's right.
The
Criminal
poverty
justice system, that's right.
The criminal justice system,
that's right.
These all play huge parts in our children's life.
Mm-hmm.
So just because the school system, Buffalo did a great job sending virtual learning supplies home to students, making sure kids had lesson plans, making sure kids had papers to do and stuff like that. But you're sending them, like you said, Sam, to parents who already failed in the system.
That's right.
Can I jump in right there?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt you because we got to get to these pods and
Yes,
the work that you do.
I know.
No. But I want to say this: the school system did an incredible job of responding when the COVID shut everything in crisis.
In crisis,
I'm talking about one of the best. And I do national work, so I'm working with school districts all in different states. Buffalo's response was unbelievable, and they worked with community partners, community leaders to make sure everybody had food. It was like the model. It was like an incredible. So the leadership. But here's the thing: when there's urgency, you forced to act. Right, you don't have time to think of all of the politics and this special interest group. And no, there's an immediate need, and our leaders responded to the need. But then, like you said, after that need passed, after the urgency passed, we got into all the other mechanics and the weeds, and all of a sudden, it became this whole other thing. Yeah. And that's like a person. I ain't gonna get into my stuff because you are guests, but I just feel like we got to keep the urgency so that we can keep everybody working together, everybody finding solutions, everybody all hands on decking it for our kids, because the urgency might not be the same around COVID, but it's still about our dropouts. It's still about our discipline. It's still about our college retention, being able to read it. Like, we got to keep that, but ain't nobody going to do it. We got to do it. And so, I'm sorry.
No, perfect, Duncan. Your co-host is bad, man.
Yeah, now listen, dude, this is us.
Energy.
This is us.
Man, no, and I'm not blowing smoke. I'm serious. That urgency should be felt in every situation in our society.
That's right.
The same urgency that we had to come together. We don't want to get sick. Now we got it under control. And every time urgency hits our community, they make us feel comfortable in it. They make us feel comfortable with the crime numbers. They make us feel comfortable with the drug numbers. They make us feel comfortable with with juvenile justice, criminal justice, because the criminal justice system has 4 different layers to it. You know, you got juvenile justice within criminal justice. You got family injustices within criminal justice. You know, you got systems set up
that used to be my profession.
You got systems set up to keep husband and wives apart.
That's right.
And we don't see the urgency in our community because they substitute things to make us not worry about the urgency.
That's right.
But that's a great point. So March 17th, shut down. Great rally by Buffalo Strong. Everybody came together. And then by June, what I saw was the emphasis went from education to eating.
That's right.
Now, let me say this, and I don't know if any of y'all restaurateurs, but I saw more energy and effort being put into how we going to keep restaurants open. How we going to, and again, I know an economy and you got workers, and I'm not criticizing nobody, but we had an urgency with education, and now it's turned to food. Food dominates the Western New York media station.
And that's true. I mean, and even you know, as a not-for-profit, I'm a director of a not-for-profit center, so I understand that became the focus of the conversation. How do we make sure in the third poorest city in America that people eat, right? So now, but here's the point. Here, we making sure people eat, but you don't hear the conversation around, now is the time to plan for a school that's going to be opening in September. We don't even get into that conversation until the 3rd week in August.
And you hit it right on the head. So one of my child development centers, I'm the only school-based child development center in Buffalo, West New York, right in June. So I'm in June. I'm talking with the school administration. How did the virtual learning go? They said it was horrible. They had students who hadn't did any work from March 17th.
That's right.
Because they heard the governor say, we're not going to fail anybody. Everybody promotes.
That's right.
This goes back to my step point. Now we got a city full of our kids who stopped 5/8 of the way short of completion. If you look at the school year, when we start on March 17th, that's only 5/8 completion. Right? And some of them, according to what we said earlier, didn't even get nothing out of the 5/8 that they did go.
Right.
Yeah, because it was, just so everybody knows, just throw this out there, BPS had 5,000 suspensions from September to March.
And we know we had a minimum of 5,000 students that didn't even log on.
So I'm at this school, And I'm talking to the administration. They said it went terrible. I said, well, I have this license here. And we came up with this robust idea.
Well, before you go on license, I don't want to lose how important what you're getting ready to say is, right? And I want to set it up with the reality of when children stop going to school. First of all, the grading policy, what you're talking about, essentially said you can add on to your grade, but your grade cannot go any lower, right? It also said that you don't got to take no exams. It also said you ain't got to take no standardized tests. You know what I'm saying? So what you did is you created the environment where everybody who pretty much came to school graduated. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's really what it came down to. Our graduation rate went from 65 to 75%. You know what I'm saying? Literally. You know what I'm saying? 10% increase in graduate. So my point is that the environment became people just getting by on what they had learned up until that point. Again, we were in crisis, so I don't want to pretend like we weren't in crisis, right? But it requires somebody to focus on our kids actually being educated. And if they are, how they're being educated. And if there's a plan, what is the plan for educating them? Because that is what we're going to be faced with come September. So what did you do?
I prayed first.
Okay.
Because when I got the report that 60% of the kids in that particular school didn't do any work and they had all the materials, then I started to look. Now,
say that, wait. You said 60% of the kids
in that
had the material. In that particular school didn't do no work.
Any quantifying work.
I got you. So in other words, work that would have actually advanced them academically.
Right.
You know
That's
what I'm saying? They might have busy work. But were they academically instructed like the kids who continued to go to school in private school who had their curriculum that was not even interrupted? They had all the resources, all the support, and they were learning work that's going to advance them academically.
That's where we at. So now I said to myself, okay, how can I help? What can I do? Because I'm starting to think. We just lost March, April, May, June. We just lost 4 months. We just lost 4 months of instruction, and you hear the governor saying they're going to the next grade, and to not have torches lit towards him, which I understand. But again, it's like finishing the race or completing the game, whatever sport analogy you want to use, and you don't finish the race, but you get the trophy.
That's right.
You don't play the fourth quarter, but you get the trophy. Now you got that Kobe Bryant hat over there.
That's right.
Imagine we would have never had the Mamba if he wasn't pushed to the next level.
That's it.
He didn't get participation trophies. That's not satisfying enough.
We had kids in GED programs who did not pass the GED exam. All they had to do is have a teacher say they would have passed the GED exam, and they got a GED. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so you in theory, it's great because they got it, right? But are we really helping that child?
Because the reason I push people to get the GED so they can go to the next level of that college degree,
right?
Whether it's associates or 4-year,
right?
But again, if you don't have the adequate building blocks, now they go to their first semester at college and they're lost.
Yeah, because they're going to be in developmental courses first. They're going to take non-credit bearing courses, and they're going to take it 1 semester, or they're going to take it 2 or 3 semesters, and they're going to use college tuition for that. They're going to use financial aid to doing that. So you think you're helping them? You're not really helping them.
From my job,
okay.
Don't get me.
Okay.
But that's what happened. That's the system.
That's right. That's the system.
So even when these GED students, like you said, and even these elementary and the high school students, when they're told 5/8 of the year was completed, 3/8 weren't, but you good, I'm thinking, how good are they? So I asked the school. We went into partnership mode because I'm there in my wing, my suite. I have my little preschoolers. I have my little school age kids. During the summer camp, during holidays and recess. So I said, well, what if we did a virtual summer camp? And she said, what is that? I said, well, you as a school, you can't teach. You can't have school. But as a child development center, I can have daycare. I can have summer camp.
That's right.
So we went to the Office of Child and Family Services. I love the Office of Child and Family Services. I can't thank them enough for their participation, because everybody says government entities are bad. They're not. You just have to know how to work government entities for your benefit. Yeah. Office of Child and Family Services expanded my license. We brought in 120 second and third graders who was going to the 3rd and 4th grade, standardized testing.
Gotcha.
That's the critical
That's where it
year.
started.
That's
third
where
grade.
it started at.
That's
where it started at. They wouldn't have had the building blocks. We, for 5 weeks, every day from 8 to 3:30, had those kids in my supported summer camp. Okay.
This is in-person instruction.
This is in-person instruction, but the instructor was on a Zoom.
Got you. So it's childcare. Parents basically
It's childcare.
dropping their kids off for childcare, but you're taking advantage of the fact that they're in childcare and you're actually giving them instruction or supporting instruction that's coming through Zoom.
We were and hear me, Western New York, whoever can hear me or see me on Facebook, nobody else did this over the summer. Nobody. We have proven data, scientific evidence. We put 10 children in a room with a child care instructor, a CDA, somebody who would qualify to work at my child development center.
That's right.
Some of them have college. Some of them have CDA, which is child development accreditation.
That's right, it's a certification
It's right
that you
below
get.
an associate's degree, right? So we put them in there.
A lot of what the Head Start staff
Right.
have.
But the teachers of the school were doing the Zooms.
Got you.
Which was legal.
Right.
Teachers out doing their thing. My staff is, just doing our normal
So
stuff.
in effect, you had a pod.
I invented the pod.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to
Okay,
tell you.
got you.
Nobody heard about this.
I got you.
Before we did this.
Got you.
We had a pod.
So
One
what they
person-
call a virtual learning center is literally what you were doing before they named it that here.
I named it that here in Buffalo.
Wow.
I have emails that I can show you that before anybody said virtual learning support, I was sending emails. We are doing virtual learning support. I would like you to look at this model that we're doing. But I'm not here for that.
Okay.
I'm here for the success of our children.
Yeah, but that's part of the
Here's
story
what
too.
happened.
It's important.
Here's what happened. 5 weeks. All of those second and third graders who participated in our plan, at least 80%, all of them participated.
You said it was 120.
120. All of them were on grade level reading, comprehension, and math by July 31st.
Wow. This is
versus just so we put it in context. So you saying 80% of the 100 kids, or are you saying all of them?
No, all of them were on grade level.
Okay, so
that participated a minimum of 80% of the program.
I got you.
We had 3 or 4, because I like to tell the truth.
Yeah.
We had 3 or 4 students who dropped out. We had 2 or 3 students who we had to say leave because their parents wasn't quarantining. They was taking some of that extra money that they were getting for being off and traveling.
Gotcha.
So
and you wouldn't go put the other kids at risk.
And it's important why I say that. That's not a criticism.
Right.
But it's important why I say that. Because we literally had to contact trace before contact was made.
Wow.
We were talking to parents every day. We were communicating with parents every
So you
day.
actually had a system for contact tracing before there was contact tracing.
Oh, they had contact
Right.
tracing, but I advanced it. Don't wait till somebody get back or get infected to see where they've been. See where they've been
Before you bring them into the school.
So
Gotcha.
hold on. I want to just go back. So because you're saying of the students that participate in at least 80%, every single one was on grade level.
Everyone.
That is in contrast to what is the current number, pre-COVID numbers of how many children could read on grade level, which is about 22%.
Right.
So
Right.
I just want people to understand
Right.
that generally, out of every 100 kids, only 22 can read on grade level.
That's right.
in our Buffalo Public School
That's
system.
right.
And that's before COVID.
That's right.
And you saying in your program going through
80%.
100% of the students that participate in 80%
right.
of the
Right.
it was there 80% of the time. So I mean,
That's what we're looking for. That's the
it.
model.
That's
And
That's the model.
So
I just
this
wanted to
is
lift
what,
that up.
This
That's it.
is
It's
what
important.
I'm bypassing everybody else because I listen to the governor. And everybody get up in arms when the governor says, well, we might end school as we know it. But Sam, if you think about it, we've been trying to break down this system in Buffalo for a long
Yeah,
time.
see, we've been talking about that on this radio, you know what I'm saying? And that's really the opportunity. We've been saying
This
this,
is-
and it's almost like
this is-
divine intervention. God said, y'all moving too slow. y'all ain't
we
fighting this
can-
right.
If we can prove this model that's going on now, so let's fast forward.
Yeah.
So we did this 120 students that at least came 80%, 100% that came 80% of the time are on grade level reading, writing, and comprehension and math, right? So we got that. So I go and I pitch this. Now the only place I know as a child development director to get money from is Erie County. And that's why I got to stop because we get mad at systems. But Mark Polencarts opened his doors to our group, okay, and heard us and loved it. He loved it.
Yeah, what is it not to love? I mean,
He
literally,
said-
it's a solution
so
in
now-
an environment
now
where we
this
got a
is
problem
on-
at.
This is a meeting on August 4th.
Okay.
Okay, I show timelines. because I'm like Ray Child's mother, scratch a thief, find
So
a
as soon
liar.
as you got the as soon as you got the data,
As soon as I got the data.
the same week, I heard
Soon
that
as
number.
I-
I heard that number. You said July 31st.
July
And then
31st,
August 4th, you was in his
August
office.
4th.
So I caught
August
that.
4th.
I
I'm
caught that.
there,
Just so
and
you know.
I laid it down.
You said,
this is what we did.
Scratch a thief, find a
This-
liar.
This is what we did. This is what we could do
Mm-hmm.
to help these children. He says, Mr. Downson, I'm not in education. This is wonderful. Let's work towards this. So, that's when, because he governs the county.
That's right.
He doesn't just govern the city of Buffalo. He governs the county. And I really have to
And that's where the
applaud him.
child care money go through.
Right. It goes through Erie County. It goes
That's
through Marie Cannon, phenomenal.
Yes.
She is the commissioner
Yep,
of
social
DSS.
services. Yep.
Now, we always associate DSS with black women, but how many times do we actually give credit that a black woman
That's
is the
right.
commissioner
That's right.
of DSS?
And she's doing her
now?
thing over there,
and
too.
And she is doing her thing.
question about it.
Point blank, period. They follow all the proper procedure, protocol, and they said it's an educational partnership, so let's bring in Buffalo. And when they said that, I said, okay, cool, because I knew I was the only one over the summer who did this. Everybody else ran summer.
So you got a proven program.
Nobody
already.
did virtual learning where you got a teacher who is on a Zoom or on a Schoology and watch this, a qualified person to provide care to make sure that person, and we got 3 E's. I want to give you these 3 E's, and maybe the executive producer can type them in. So I want to give you the 3 E's that made it successful. Our coaches, because that's what we call them pod coaches.
Okay.
Our coaches encourage, engage, and empower.
Okay, right on.
Now, where did I get that from?
So while you're explaining that, right? Because you're describing what is now what we're talking about as
model.
virtual.
Yeah.
You're describing it before it became what it is now.
Yeah.
So people understand what your children are experiencing now, or the programs that they're getting ready to offer now. You're describing how it came into fruition.
This
So-
came from us.
Period.
This came from the east side of Buffalo. This came from the urgency. This came from all the importance of seeing, I love the work that Duncan's doing with this new school, but I hate he has to do the work. COVID is going to we're going to need 3 of them schools in 5 years if we don't do something.
I mean, if that's
'Cause
real
the
talk.
dropout rates is going to go up.
That's right.
And up and up
And it's interesting because the graduation rate is going to go up and the dropout rate is going to go up.
simultaneously.
So they're not mutually exclusive. You know what I'm saying? More kids
Yeah.
are going to get left behind and fall off. You know what I'm saying? More kids going to get left behind and fall off. And then other kids are going to get pushed on.
Right.
They're going to appear. So neither one of the situations actually help us.
The system.
Yes.
The system.
Right.
So the virtual learning support system model is you take a qualified person to be around kids.
Mm-hmm.
We train them. I don't know what nobody else is doing. I only can speak. And then the most important part is this is a faith-based initiative, because I used to work for Erie County years ago. And in Erie County, with Commissioner Michael Weiner, like I said, I'm factual. I ain't this what I think. I remember. This is facts. I work for Commissioner Michael Weiner's task force to develop a model to get people off of public assistance.
Okay.
It was called the wraparound model. It's a familiar term right now.
That's right.
I sat at the table in the development of the wraparound model.
Okay.
So again, I put all of my stuff together.
So hold on, I don't want to cut you off, but we got to hear how people could get involved.
Yes,
How they could
yes.
get their kids in here, because there's 2 parts you got to talk about. One is how do people get their kids in there, and 2 is the job opportunities that you spoke to me about.
So let me tell you. Okay, so very quickly, it's through the system. Say Yes is our partner.
Okay.
They're our designee. They're our authorizer. So Say Yes Buffalo rolled out a program for 2,200 Buffalo public school and surrounding areas students. Charter school.
Now, wait. I don't want to lose this, right? Because when I did my little research, I thought the number was 2,500. The number is actually 2,200.
It's 2,250 because we lost a partner. But
Okay, 22. But
let's
now
say 25.
Let's say it's 2,500, right?
2250,
But now I thought that 2,500 was for Buffalo. You said 2,500 for all of Erie County?
I have to tell the truth.
I
You
hope so.
don't have to be a Buffalo public school student to benefit from this process.
So that 2,500 number, because we got a high concentration of poverty in Buffalo, so I want to be real clear, that 2,500, because that number, that poverty extends in rural areas as well. So I want to be clear that 2,500 includes Erie County, not just
so
Buffalo.
you better jump on it. That's what I'm hearing.
Urgency.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that this ain't saying, I'll get to it next
No,
month.
Because other people are
Y'all
going
better
to jump on it.
y'all because my phone rings off the hook. So
It's been ringing since we've been seeing it.
Duncan said, focus on how do parents get. Okay, you can go to the Say Yes Buffalo website. They are our lead. I gotta say yes. But CCP Buffalo Community Cares Program, buffalo.org, ccpbuffalo.org, which we've had our website up for 2 months. ccpbuffalo.org. We have a fillable enrollment packet online because we don't want people to interact.
How soon does this start? So if they
We start Monday, October 5th.
So no, what I'm saying
This
is
coming Monday.
I'm saying if a parent seeing this show and they go to ccpbuffalo.org and they say, I want my kid in that. Hell yeah, they gotta get out of this house. They gonna get some learning, and they can start. How soon?
They enroll tonight. They'll get a phone call tomorrow about their placement at one of our 8 locations in the underserved areas in Buffalo.
Okay, so we got to stop, and we just got to. I mean, because this is really important, right? So everybody, you got to hear this. First of all, there are limited seats.
There are limited seats.
It's not unlimited seats, right? So if your child's at
it's
home,
free. And this is
it's
free.
It's free, and it changed. My motto was for working parents. Any parent can sign up now.
Okay, so we got to jump on this.
You got to jump on.
So if your
this.
child's at home right now and they're
Yes.
unsupervised, or you're working and you're not able to supervise them effectively, you know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to Zoom and they're over there doing their work and you're not able to help your child. Any parent, I know there are parents who are listening who that's the case.
Or grandparents.
I mean, or grandparents, right?
Grandparents,
You have
foster
to
parents.
You have to stop what you're doing right now. Pick up the phone, call everybody who you know is like you, and you have to go to ccpbuffalo.org now. You have to tell other people now because these seats will close up. There is a limited number of seats to get your child in a situation where if you're sitting there watching your child fall further behind because they're not getting, they're not getting the effective engagement. You know that you're not able to monitor them or they're not being monitored. You have to go do this right now because this is a solution to your problem.
It's 1 million people in Erie County. Okay, it's 1 million people that live in Erie County. It's only 2,500 spots. You gotta get on this right now. Tell me they get food too. Tell me that you feed them too.
Yes, we feed them breakfast, lunch, and snack.
Come on.
For free. And again, I have to thank Mark Polencards and Commissioner Marie Cannon and the Buffalo Public School System because they're providing nutrition.
Okay.
Nutrition comes federally funded.
That's right.
So they will lose funding if they don't feed children.
That's right.
We got to tell the truth.
That's right.
So yes, you get fed. It's drop off, pickup. Let me be very clear about why this is so crucial. I started this for working parents because the essential workers are us.
Right.
I looked at essential workers.
That's right. It's our community.
It's black and brown
That's
people.
right.
So I said, why should they lose their job? Here's the most important, Duncan, even beyond the food. Ours is a proven safe environment. This is why we naturally separate ourselves. We took over the summer 15 men and women from this community and COVID-19 sanitation trained them.
Okay.
Now, everybody was talking about their models. We're going to go to school for 2 days, take a day off to do deep cleaning, come back and go to school another 2 days.
Right.
We have on-site at CCP, Community Cares Program, we have on-site vocationally trained COVID-19 sanitization certified workers working all day long.
Wow. So you ain't got to take no days off to clean
Kids
up.
come in, they go to their pod. So let me describe the hub because y'all keep talking about the pod. The hub is the crucial point. We put them in areas where we knew parents would need them most.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't put them in North Buffalo.
Got you. Because parents in North Buffalo.
We didn't put them in parks.
Because their kids still going to regular school full time.
Right. We didn't put them in the Delaware district. You won't see none of our pods around Delaware Park. You know where I'm going with this.
I know.
You won't see none of our pods around Lofts or anything because our people don't live there. Our hubs, you got to start with the hub. Our hub is the hub of the community. We had 17 faith-based organizations that said that they will open up their doors to this program.
So now you got a partnership with
but we're down to 8. They eliminated some because we would have been out of the 2,500 slots. We'd have took them all.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to cut our program down.
Which means we probably need them all.
Because the hub is the thing. The hub, because Duncan said food. I want to get to the important part. we can't provide transportation. So we wanted to put them in neighborhoods where transportation wouldn't be an issue.
Got you.
Where parents can walk. Or like me, 462 Dodge Street on the corner of Dodge and Timing. From the 2nd grade to the 8th grade, I walked 6 blocks to go to school in safety.
Let me do this. Because we run
I
short
know.
on time, right? But listen,
I know.
I want to
I'm
know
sorry.
if we can bring you back next week. That's what I want.
I'll come back next week, yeah.
Because listen, this is too important to not get into the detail of this.
Yeah.
Because there's some other things I want to look up too, right? Because I think I heard in the conversation last week that we are still paying our transportation contract. You know what I'm saying? That we're still.
You got to talk to your system about that.
But you listen. The point I'm making is
That's money that
that's a
could
big
be diverted. This money,
That's a big
God
contract.
bless Say Yes
Or
Buffalo.
or we could safety to use them.
Right. God bless Say Yes Buffalo. Let me say that. They are our partners. They've been great with us. Out of the 2,500 slots, CCP has 900.
All right.
That's extraordinary.
Okay.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah,
They gave us.
But you say it's extraordinary, right? But you also said that you set up the model. You know what I'm saying? And so why would that be an extraordinary?
It's
That almost should be
it's
expected.
extraordinary because we live in the system of the city of Buffalo. Now, I will not back off my criticism of the system of the city of Buffalo. I will shake hands with those who will shake hands with me, but we live in the city of Buffalo that intrinsically keeps their knee on our neck all the time.
Okay, I hear that. That sounds.
I got to get to one more thing, though. I'm sorry, Brother Sam. Talk about the job opportunities.
Job opportunities. We are employing. Go to ccpbuffalo.org. We're employing, and we're not paying people minimum money. We took the grant dollars we get. There's no heavy administration costs. We're directing everything towards the student resource and towards the employees. We have 4 different level positions. You could be a COVID-19 cleaner. You have to be trained and certified through our program.
That's a full-time job?
It's a full-time job, 40 hours a week. $15 to $20 an hour.
Wow.
You could be a pod coach. We call them scholar coaches. They took the word pod and they misused it. They're scholar coaches because these are scholars. They're not students. These are scholars. Mm-hmm. So those are $15 to $25 an hour. And then there's site directors, and then there's support staff. All of them start at $15 an hour.
Wow.
Depending on your experience. So if you ran an office, you have administrative assistant experience, we're gonna pay you $20 an hour. We are full time, 40 hours a week, because we're doing this from 7:30 to 4:30.
And this is approved all the way through till when?
To December 30th.
So it's already approved till December 30th.
It's already approved. Yes, we already approved.
So if they start next week, they good to go till December.
They good to go to December.
And then
it might get extended.
If it gets extended,
because the school year gonna be
and more stimulus money just coming down. So I mean, it's really the possibility that you can go the whole year.
Because parents, you don't have to send your kids 5 days a week. All you have to do is send your kids 1 day a week. And I'm telling you, through our process, we have already done this because we've been doing it in our child development centers before we got officially certified to do it for Say Yes Buffalo. We need 1 day a week to make your child successful, because we're going to encourage, empower through engagement. We're going to encourage that student, empower them. We're going to show them. Nobody showed these kids how to virtually learn. They gave them Chromebooks, but they didn't show them how to learn virtually.
Listen up, y'all.
They don't even have the whole formula. They stole my formula, but they ain't even take the whole thing.
But this is real. I mean, we at the end of our show, right? But Pastor Don, so I cannot tell you how. Listen, I'm inspired by what you have done, what you are doing, and so listen. I'm glad you committed to be here next week, right?
Yes.
All right. So listen, everybody. I just want to, as we move to close, this is what you got to do. If you're looking for a job, you know somebody looking for a job.
ccpbuffalo.org.
There you go. I mean, it's an opportunity, $15 to $25 an hour job. You know what I'm saying? One is cleaning, other 2 are teaching or being a director, depending on what
support. We're not teaching because that scares people.
That's right.
I got to be a teacher. I got to grade papers.
If you can
have to encourage.
You
Exactly. You have to be able to encourage a child to perform the way you want to see them perform. What do we say all the time when we see a kid acting out? Look at that bad kid. But how many of us take the moment and opportunity to show them positive behavior so that they can mimic positive behavior?
And that's really what I'm talking about, because the bigger issue, everybody, that I'm saying, and I know it's that time, right? The bigger issue is that the students who went through the model program this summer, the pilot program this summer,
successful.
All of them got to grade level. So listen to y'all, listen up, everybody. We know you ain't got to say nothing. 75% of y'all children are not on grade level right now. Every one of y'all should be looking for a program that's going to help your children get on grade level. So I don't care where your kids is going right now. You should reconsider and have your children go somewhere where they're going to get the help and support they need from somebody who loves them. So I know it's late on the show. Anything you say in the closing?
Spaces are limited, as he said.
Run, y'all, run.
So tonight, tomorrow, ccpbuffalo.org. Get your kids signed up. It's free. It's a quick application. They could be starting on Monday.
And say yes as well. And say yes.
Say yes website.
And say yes website. They'll send you the CCP.
All right.
Because they give parents choice to where they want to send their kids. But why not send your kids to a place where the people there look like them?
Amen, everybody. So thank you for joining us for another a week of Power to the We the Parents. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say power to the parents in a minute, right? But we the parents. But we want to thank Pastor Donaldson. He'll be here next week. So I know we didn't get into the opportunity to answer your phone calls or your questions tonight, but we will start off next week with your questions, and we will start off by taking your phone calls.